right, I want to talk about after you went to school, you went and got your master's in business and you started doing business in the oil and gas industry, which honestly, even me knowing you, I know that's not really your like personality. And then you
I
said you
know.
got out of that. And yeah, you said Burning Man had to play a little part in that. So maybe
Oh
tell us
yeah.
about tell us about your life in this gas industry. What happened and why did you find this change? How it came about?
So life in the ego industry is how I like to describe that. So I was trading commodities, and that is just like your dog eat dog world to the T. Like it's just be better than everyone else, make the best trades, make the most money. And I just frankly did not fit in, period, because that's just not my personality. I didn't understand this idea of like even within on the same trading desk, like people working with you, don't help them, compete against them. I
Yeah.
was just like, this is really messed up. My very first year in it, I was just miserable. But I'd just gone out of business school and I'm trying to make all my money back. And I was like, I need a job. I have to do this. And in my head, I was just like, I cannot quit because I don't have enough money to quit. I need to stay in this environment I absolutely hate. And so I just really put it out there to the world. I was just like, I just need something. I need some relief right now. And Burning Man came across my path. And I'd never heard of Burning Man, but 2 weeks before the event started that year, one of my friends from my volleyball team I was on at the time, they were going, and they had an extra ticket because one of their friends bailed on it. And without knowing what Burning Man was, I was just like, I'll take that ticket. I don't care. I'm going to this thing. And so, and like normally, to give you an idea, if like Burning Man is something that usually requires months of preparation for most people. And I, 2 weeks before it started, looked at what Burning Man was after buying my ticket, and it's just like, what the hell have I gotten myself into? Holy crap! This thing is this massive in the desert event where like it can be like plus 45 Celsius or like 110 Fahrenheit during the day and down to like freezing at night. And so I went down there 8 days later and I got there early and I was helping to build this art project. And what I realized right away when I was there, because Burning Man in and of itself, like what you see on Instagram is not really Burning Man. Back then, they weren't even allowed cameras unless you had like a press pass. But Burning Man in and of itself is based on this ideas of like radical self acceptance, radical self expression, just really helping people out and just making it a very community based thing. And I got there, and it was just such an interesting. It was so different from gas trading because on one hand, my whole life was in this egocentric, just compete, compete, outdo everyone, don't help everyone. And then I went to this place where it was do things for the love of everyone, contribute to everyone, and like good things will just come your way. And it just felt so natural because I believe that really is at our core exactly what we're all about is just loving one another, seeing each other as brothers. And so I started to experience that. And then also because it is a very, like, it's a crazy environment. And I mean, I was not prepared for it at all. I'd gotten down there 8 days. So I had like no shade. I had no anything. I had a tent. It was dusty as, like, I've never been so dusty in my life. Super uncomfortable, right? Like, couldn't even sleep in my tent. It was so freaking hot. It was covered in dust because dust gets through everything. So I was just this dusty disaster. And it was a really funny moment in my life because I realized right there, I was like, this was where I first started to realize how powerful our thoughts are. Because I just was like, I've got a full week out here and I can be the most miserable person if I want because I'm dirty, I'm dusty, I like I can't sleep, I'm too hot. Or I can just decide to find the very best in this moment. And I just made up my mind. I was like, well, that's what I'm going to do. And it was a really interesting thing because in that whole week, I just was always just like, I'm just going to be as happy as I can. I'm putting no meaning on anything. I'm just going to see what comes my way and have fun with it. And I mean, granted, it's Burning Man, so I definitely tried quite a few different drugs, which I'd never been exposed to before, and that opened things up as well. But this was the very first time where I experienced what happiness was again, because I'd forgotten what happiness felt like. I had no idea. That was the first time in, I couldn't even tell you how many years that I felt happiness. And it was because I stopped making myself unhappy. And that was where it was such a funny realization because it was just the only one who's ever been taken away from my happiness was me
Mm,
the whole time. And I just had to stick myself in this crazy environment where I wasn't surrounded by the things I normally was giving so much meaning to realize that it's only me doing it.